Since it came out way back in 1962, Lawrence of Arabia has been, well, more than just a movie. It's a legend, an absolute giant of cinema, famous for its epic scale, its wild ambition, and its reputation as one of the greatest films of all time. So, picture this. A modern movie fan sits down to watch this masterpiece for the first time, and their reaction is this. They find the main character, T.E. Lawrence, to be an utter buffoon, a clown. I mean, wow. That take flies in the face of like 60 years of people saying this movie is perfect. And that right there is a fantastic puzzle. Is it possible this legendary movie is kinda overrated? Or, and this is the fun part, did that viewer accidentally uncover the movie's real genius? Well, that's what we're gonna figure out. Because that viewer's gut reaction, that feeling of what is with this guy, that gets right to the very heart of what makes this movie so complicated and, yeah, so brilliant. Here's the thing. The movie actually agrees with our confused viewer from the very beginning. It doesn't open with some big heroic moment. Nope. It opens with Lawrence's sudden, almost clumsy death in a motorcycle crash. And then, at his own memorial, the people who supposedly knew him best can't even agree on who the heck he was. I mean, listen to this. One guy calls him a poet and a scholar. Another says he was a mighty warrior. But then someone else says he was the most shameless exhibitionist since Barnum and Bailey. The movie throws this puzzle at you in the first 5 minutes. It never ever says, here's your hero, plain and simple. So, what if the buffoon isn't a flaw? What if that's the whole point of T.E. Lawrence's character? That Reddit user was really onto something, because all those weird behaviors are totally intentional. His whole manner seems insubordinate, but as Lawrence himself points out, it isn't really. You have to remember, he's a scholar who's been dreaming of Arabia his whole life, so when he finally gets there, of course he acts like a kid being taken to Disneyland. And that effeminate aura the viewer picked up on, that was a deliberate choice, reflecting the real historical Lawrence. The bottom line is, he's not a soldier, he's a poet, an oddball, and completely the wrong guy for the job he's been given. You see, he's living in his own personal fantasy of a grand desert adventure. And for the first part of the movie, he almost pulls it off. But it's a dream, and eventually he has to wake up. And that happens when he's captured and tortured. All those romantic ideas get shattered by the brutal reality of war. He realizes he's not some kind of god, he's just a man. And that collision between the dream and the reality is what this entire movie is about. Okay, so if the hero is designed to be flawed, what does that mean for the movie itself? This is where we get into the pure genius of the director, David Lean, and the film's really unique structure. Critics often call this movie an anti-epic. What does that mean? Well, it looks and feels like a massive, heroic adventure story, but it's actually using that style to take apart the whole idea of a simple hero. It's critiquing the genre from the inside out, which is just brilliant. And it does this by literally splitting the movie in two. Part 1 is the classic epic adventure you're expecting. Lawrence leads his men across an impossible desert and captures the city of Aqaba. It's thrilling. But Part 2 is the exact opposite. It's dark, it's cynical, the hero starts to seem like a fraud, his actions get more and more desperate, and you literally see his perfect white robes get dirty, torn, and bloodstained. It's a visual symbol of his entire fall from grace. This was David Lean's magic trick. He could give you these absolutely jaw-dropping shots of the desert, but they were never just pretty pictures. Those huge empty landscapes were meant to show you how big Lawrence's dreams were, but also how incredibly lonely and isolated he was. It's a nearly 4-hour epic that's secretly a very small, very personal psychological study. All right, so we have a flawed character, and we have an epic movie that's designed to show us his failure. But there's one more piece to this puzzle. The thing that makes you feel the grandeur even when the hero himself is falling apart. And that's the music. It's like the musicologist Lawrence Kramer said, music is an amplifier. You want to make something feel more heroic, more sad, more anything? Just add music. And this is the key. Music in a movie isn't just background noise. It's functional. It has a job to do. It's there to tell you how to feel, to add an emotion that you might not get just from watching the actors. And the coolest part is, you don't have to know a thing about music theory to get it. Most of us can't read sheet music, but we are all completely fluent in the emotional language of a movie score. It speaks directly to our feelings, whether we notice it or not. So in Lawrence of Arabia, you have this massive, magnificent score. It's just soaring with themes of heroism and adventure. It's emotionally screaming at you, this is a hero on an epic quest. It's the ultimate hype track, and it's doing that even while the guy on screen is acting foolish or arrogant or even cruel. So let's put it all together. We've got the flawed man, the anti-epic direction, and the heroic music. How does all that solve our original puzzle? Well, here's the verdict. That viewer who called Lawrence a buffoon, they didn't miss the point at all. They absolutely nailed it. They felt the central, intentional conflict of the entire movie. That uncomfortable feeling they had, that's exactly what you're supposed to feel. The genius of this film is that incredible contradiction. You take a deeply flawed, kind of narcissistic guy, you put him in the middle of a visually stunning heroic epic, and then you blast a powerfully heroic soundtrack over the whole thing. The result is this amazing, constant tension between the legend and the man, between the hero and the hype. And get this, the real T.E. Lawrence wrote this himself, and it perfectly sums up the film's big idea. Lawrence is one of those dangerous men. He doesn't just have fantasies, he tries to force them into the real world. And that has heroic, but also deeply tragic, consequences for him and everyone else. And that's the big question the movie leaves you with. It makes you think about what heroism even is. How much of any hero is the actual complicated person, and how much of it is just the epic story, the sweeping music, and the powerful legend that we're all told to believe?